A family is an epitome of God's love towards mankind. God designed us to live in families, and the Bible reveals that family relationships are important to Him.
But as a believer, do you feel that you are still struggling?
Maybe you're still struggling with your relationship,
Struggling with your finances?
struggling at work,
With your social life?
or with your spiritual life.
We invite you to join us
On our Family Table Talk every Saturday,
at 7:30 a.m. on My TV.
or catch us on our Facebook page.
Bulavinaka, and welcome to the Family Table Talk every Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. We would like to greet you all the way from Christchurch, and I've been just so blessed to have these four beautiful ladies with me this morning. Well, they will be introducing themselves. We will begin with Maggie Magdalene Tawake.
Kia ora and Bulavinaka. My name is Maggie Magdalene Tawake, and I hail from Daku Nakelo, Televu, and my maternal link is from Kandavu, Naka.
Bulavinaka, my name is Caroline Lalaka. I hail from the village of Watani, Kamba in Televu, and maternal link to Nauluwatu Nakelo in Televu. And I'm married to Lemeki Lalaka. He's from Batsekia Sawa in Ra, with maternal link in Punanyu Serua.
Yeah, I was worried. Don't forget your husband. Talk about your husbands as well. Well, Sherilyn.
Thank you, Bulavinaka. My name is Sherilyn Lewana Vanua. I hail from Nasilai in Rewa. Maternal links to Malolo Island in the South Group. Married all the way in the Liku, Nayau in Lau, to Lepani Lewana Vanua, and we have two beautiful children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Dalavina pemutana salsalato mai vitongo wabulawote ai Christchurch niwanginote na Family Table Talk with the First Family kivadalawote avemuto Christchurch. Also greetings to my non-Fijians. It's okay. Namaskaram. आज हम Family Table Talk पे है तो आज हम invite करता है अगर free है तो आज tune in करो और हम लोग के story सुनना how God has changed our lives. Also greetings to my parents who are tuning in all the way from Lotoka, Dalavina Nana, and greetings to you dad as well, and also to my husband who might tune in later as well, Koshnil Singh. I would like to take this time to also greet you in the mighty name of Jesus.
Well, what a combination. She's actually our queen here in Christchurch. She resides in Christchurch. They come from all different places in New Zealand and Auckland, Taupo and Tauranga, and they flew all the way here to Christchurch. Why we are here? We're actually having a conference. For the week long, we will be ending it tomorrow on Sunday, and that's why we are sitting, bracing, and this is the Marshall School, I believe, and we have been having a week-long activities for the week, and last night was so powerful because we had these beautiful ladies dancing, talking about the goodness of God. Well, today they will be sharing their life journeys with you. Like we always say, Family Table Talk is not a perfect way of handling your family. It's just a table that we can come and talk about nearly everything and anything. If it works for your family, work at it. If you're good right up there, congratulations. But if you need tips, maybe you can watch this program, pick 1 and 2, and apply it in your family. If it has worked in ours, for sure, we are definite it can also work with yours. Well, we will start with Maggie Magdalene Tawake, who will be sharing her journey this morning.
Vinaka. As I've said already, I forgot my husband.
Don't forget your husband, Maggie. Don't forget your husband.
I'm married to a handsome man from Daku
There you
also.
go.
Chochi Tawak, and I have 2 beautiful children. My life journey, I live in Suva, and I brought up in a Methodist church. My parents go to church, and I started knowing the Lord in an early age, going to Sunday school and youth, and then carry on in my teenage life, and I went to university for school.
Okay. How did you meet your husband?
Well, I did. We come from the same village.
Yeah, I've noticed. It's like Tailevu combination.
He was brought up in the village life, and I was
Okay.
brought up in Suva in town. But I think he was the one who was hiring me, but not
All
me.
right. So how many years have you been married, Maggie?
We've been married now for 25 years.
And you have two beautiful children.
2 children.
Can you share to us, like when you actually migrated or you come across to New Zealand from the life you lived, how did you adjust to the culture shock, the differences of, growing up, especially so for a teenage daughter? Would you be able to share with the viewers today on how to cope with that? Maybe some are still thinking of coming across, fearing the fact, okay, will my children survive? So share your story. If it's worked for you, it can work for you too.
Thank you. I have an older daughter. She is 22 years now.
You don't look like a mother who has a 22-year-old daughter.
And the younger one is 10 years old. So they are 12 years apart.
So that's a miracle in itself.
Yes, it is a miracle.
Okay, before you share about your daughter, share about that miracle. When you're told that you cannot conceive
Yes.
because you see the gap. It's obvious that it took
Something.
that long for your other daughter to come to be. So share a little bit on that miracle before you switch to the...
Thank you. The miracle is when, in that gap, I had 2 ectopic pregnancy.
Okay.
And the second time I had my ectopic pregnancy, the doctor said I won't be able to bear another child.
Can you tell our viewers what is ectopic pregnancy? What is it?
Ectopic pregnancy, when you're pregnant, you go for scan, but they couldn't see the baby, but you tested positive pregnancy. And sometimes when you scan, they do the scan, they couldn't find the baby in where it's supposed to, in the baby bag.
Okay.
But it's on the tube, because for us ladies, we have right and left tube.
Yeah.
So the baby is stuck going to the bag, so that it's
Oh, it's
stuck
on the
there.
tube.
It's on the tube. So I had a pain, and then I was rushed to hospital, and they had to take me to surgery same time before it bursted out.
And then they remove the baby.
Yes.
Oh,
But if it had bursted inside the tube, I would have passed away as well.
okay.
So it was a risk. So
And you had 2 of them.
I had 2, and that was both.
So that's a miracle in itself that you're still alive after those 2.
Yes. And then the second time when I had it, they said it's the right tube again. But the last time they said it was the right. So I think God mended that second tube. But it was because I gave my life when I was a kid in class 6. But I recommitted my life and our marriage in 2007. And between that time, 2008, 2009, 2010, I had the second ectopic pregnancy. And I was doing God's work. And that's when the doctor told me I couldn't bear another child.
So after that, what's the percentage?
99.99.
You can't have another child.
Can't.
And how did you have?
That was a miracle because I believe, because I committed my life to the Lord, recommitted my life to the Lord.
Yeah.
My second time, and I know this time I have to recommit my life and my marriage and our family to the Lord. And I know that my little daughter asked to, I think it was her birthday.
Yeah, I remember
came
that
to
time.
you.
We were actually having a church service at the gymnasium, and it was Gloria, the oldest daughter's birthday. So after the church service, she came to me at the back end, and she said, Auntie Rai, can you pray for me? It's my birthday today. And I said, okay. So I held her hands and I said, what is your birthday wish? And she said, I want a sister. And I know because I've spoken with the mother that she had gone through that issues, and we've been praying together for her to have another child. And you hear the daughter asking for a sister. So we held hands and we prayed, okay, I'm not the giver of that birthday gift. I can give you any other thing, but we will come in agreement and pray to God, which we did. And no, it's just amazing how God works. The faith and a desire of a child that trusts in God. And then you standing in faith that even when the doctor says it's 99.9% that you cannot have another baby, but the miracle, it's inexplainable. Well, that's another story. Now continue.
Yes, and then I think after that prayer, 3 months after that prayer, I conceived the miracle baby. And she
Okay.
was born on 12/12/12.
12 December 2012.
Yes. And I believe my commitment and reinstating my life with the Lord, that miracle happened. Because if it wasn't that, going back to the Lord, I was a sinner, I backslide, but I took another step to have faith that, okay, I can serve God well. And then that miracle happened. and she is 10 years old now. But my older daughter, who is 22 years old, she is now studying at the Waikato University in Hamilton. We moved here in 2018, and for me, it was not a culture shock because I work with Europeans and all. I understand how
You used to work for European Union.
European Union. For my daughter, when we moved in, I think the first week in school, the first 2 days she said it was all good. But after the first week, she said, I want to go back to Fiji. So I asked her, why you want to go back to Fiji? She said, she was shocked with how the atmosphere in the classroom and how they
To the
reacted
teachers.
to the teachers and all. So I told her, you have to pray. You have to pray. Don't follow what the other children do, but continue to do what you did in Fiji. Respect the teachers, continue and focus. And she did that. I think after that, because she came back, she was really crying. She really wanted to go back to Fiji. But then I continued to encourage her, and tell, see, we believe in God. God brought us here, so you trust God in everything you do. Continue to trust God and ask the Lord to lead you in His school. But it was a journey that she went through, and then she started enjoying. But she was different from all the children because she said, "Ma'am, I'm different." Back in Fiji, she's just a normal
Average student.
But when she came here, she was on the top.
Okay.
And during the last year, her graduation, she topped most of her subjects.
All right.
And she
How many
was
years does she had experience for secondary schooling here?
When we came, we put her 1 year back.
Okay.
Because she was in Form 6 back in Fiji. So we put her 1 year back here.
Like to
because
go back
we
to year
thought,
12, yeah.
Yes. So we thought, so for her to learn. But
Yeah.
I think it was just our thinking.
Yeah.
But she
was ready to go to year
ready
13.
to, yes. And then she spent 2 years.
Okay. And now she's coping well and fitting in well at the university.
Now at the university, she's coping well because after she left high school, she spent 2-year break. It was supposed to be 1. And then the second year, we got our residence. And then she said, "Oh, Mom, I'll work and I'll help you because I went through a situation. I was sick." And she said, "I'll help you when we get our residence, and then I'll go to university because of the fee,
Yes.
the difference."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, if you want it that way, then we'll support you." But now she started university this year, and we can see because she's committed to the things of God.
Yeah.
She goes to Fiji for the youth rally. She does everything for the youth in the church program. And this year when she started, we were just amazed because her assignment, I think 3 or 4 assignment, it was just 100 out of 100. And
Amazing.
yeah, and like even herself, she was amazed
Yeah.
how she got those.
Well, I believe the 2 years of break that she did, or she had, sort of made her ready to approach university studies in a more matured,
yes,
attitude other than just going in as a normal student.
yes, because she always be scared. She was telling me, "Mom, I always be scared because I'm going to, but I think when I'm going now, I think I'm ready." I said, "I think God positioned you to stay these 2 years,
To work on her confidence.
and work on your confidence." And then when she went, like she was really
Ready for it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's amazing because I've actually shared your daughter's story. We were traveling from Northern Ireland to Scotland, and we had, and I know you're listening in this morning, we had Jane Barnove all the way from England, and she's actually going to the last phase of her education to go to tertiary. And we were sitting on a cafeteria out in one of the place of rest that we were having our drinks, hot drinks and stuff. And sitting in that coffee place, and everybody else were practicing their item, and she was sitting there on her own. So I called her and said, "Come, Jane, we sit together." And amazingly, she turned to me and she said, "Auntie Rai, we actually talking about daughters. Like you have adults. They are grown-up adults, young adults. And, to come from them." When she actually shared it, I shared with her Gloria's story. Gloria, her daughter, like for the church that we belong to, we all go to church as we sit here as ladies. And the church that we go to, we have a headquarters staff, which means they voluntarily give whichever country you're living in, you still do work towards God, but in the administrative elements of the church. And her daughter is, like she works in the pro events division. So they can be out there outside Fiji, but they do the posting and everything on the Viber group, which she does. And she has been part of that. But for Jane, she is MPAT division staff. So she was going around doing the camera, doing the Viber and all that. And when she turned to me, she said, Auntie Rai, I want to give 1 year to do God's work. And I haven't discussed with my parents yet, but I would love to do that. So I turned to Jane and I shared to Jane about Gloria's story. And I said, Gloria gave 2 years to do God's work. And the feedback that I see from the parents, they mentioned the fact when she went into university now, she's more ready, more matured. And because of the exposure and the experience that she had, because she had that relationship in the work group for headquarters, it's not defined by the age group. So she's working with adults. She's talking to adults. And not like normal adults, but adults with, matured spiritual life. So even that interaction and that communication, even though they're not physically together, that kind of talk and that kind of relationship that they have matured their thinking, even though they are children. And I shared that with Jane, and she was very interested. So before coming out and before leaving London, and I know Auntie Rose is also watching in, we were all sitting together with her mother and her 2 sisters. We have Diwali and also Deborah. And I turned to the mother and I said, I know we had this conversation with Jane all the way in Scotland, but if it's okay with you, if the parents approve, then we are willing to take Jane on. So Jane will be joining us in August, and she'll be coming over to Fiji to also work in Fiji for the conference, and December stay in for the Youth Elite. And even I'm trying to fit her to one of the programs as we travel to Australia and also for New Zealand for this upcoming schedule. And she's going to take 1 year break, then go to uni after that. And thank you to Gloria for making that happen, because she's already done it. And like what I said, the assignment is 100%. Well, that's beyond you. I have never had any 100% mark when I was still in school. But if that is happening, it's an approach and the adult thinking, the matured way that they look at the whole thing other than a normal student. And that's exactly what I shared with Jane. When you go back in, you're not going in just like a normal student who is just flowing, going with the flow. And I must say that they're very bold to make that kind of a decision. It's very bold to go against the current. Everybody's going this way, you stand in and say, no, I'll go that way. And that is brave. So thank you, Maggie, for sharing your story with us this morning. Now we will go across to Rewa. We have this beautiful Rewan lady married to Lau. What a combination. So we have Sherilyn. Please, Sherilyn, share your story with us today. And if you know how to speak in Nandi dialect, please say Mbula to your family back at home.
Thank you, Auntie Rai. Before I share my testimony, a little bit of my life this morning, I would like to also take this time to say Mbula Vinaka to my parents back in Nandi, Mbula mom and dad, and also to the siblings in your family, and not forgetting my grandmother all the way from the Navodi village in Nandi. Mbula Vinaka to you all. Thank you. I'll just like to share a little bit of my life. I'm the oldest of 6 siblings. There was 4 of us born back in Fiji, and 2 were born here in New Zealand. We came in the year 2009. We came in the year 2009, and growing up, it wasn't easy. I used to see my parents. I used to see my dad argue with my mom, touch my mom, and at times when I see my mom lying there helpless with the black eye and blood coming out, to me myself, I would say, okay, when I grow up, I don't want to be like this. So as we were growing up, coming to New Zealand, my eyes started to open. But growing up, I never go to nightclubs. I don't go out drinking, go hang out with my friends. I was like a boring kind of girl, always stay home.
A homebody. And also when you come in here, did you attend school here? What school year were you?
Yes, I attended Otahuhu College back in Auckland in New Zealand, year 13.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I attended Otahuhu College, it was culture shock. It was so different. Because back in Fiji, I attended school in Fiji, and coming to New Zealand, attending the school, it was like, okay. I used to see students talking back to the teachers, not respecting the teachers. So to me, I was like, okay, no, that was not us back in Fiji. Eh? So yeah, it was a bit of culture shock. So when I have friends, they used to say, okay, weekend we go out, weekend we go do this and that. And I always tell them, oh no, I don't drink, I don't go to nightclubs. And they say, oh, you have a boring life. But to me, that boring life was
what you wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I always stay home, help out with my parents, or look after the young siblings. Yeah. So that was my life.
And then you got married in which year? How old were you when you got married?
So when I was 21, when I was at the age of 20, I met this handsome Lawan man.
Who took your heart away?
So yeah, 2000, when I was 20, like I said, I'm the oldest.
Yes.
And my parents had plans for me. I was how many months left for me to turn 21. So my parents was...
They're not happy.
Yes. They were looking forward. We were planning for my 21st birthday. And then
your husband took you away, whisked you away before your 21st birthday.
Took me away. And I was pregnant at the age before I was 21.
Oh, okay.
So...
how many children do you have?
Now I have two beautiful children. The oldest is 10 years old and the youngest is now 8. It was an easy journey for me.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant, my parents, they didn't like it. Like they were disappointed in me. And then I was telling my husband, okay, I think we need to do abortion because I can't do this because my parents are frustrated. My family, what will my family say back then from Fiji? So I wasn't looking, or I wasn't thinking about my child, but I was thinking of what my family or other people will say.
Yeah.
And then he said, oh, it's okay, don't worry. But that my parents, they were very disappointed. I mean, I'm the oldest, and
they had so much plans for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we had our son, it was a very difficult pregnancy.
Yeah.
Now looking back, when I always tell the story to my son, he always tell me, Mom, why you want to do that to me? You don't like me anymore. But now, as I see him, I thank God for bringing him up. Yeah? So like I've said, now he's he's 10 years old. It's his last year in primary.
Okay.
Last month we went for his parents' interview.
Which school does he go to?
He goes to Crossgrove School back in Papakura in Auckland. Like the situation that I went through, my pregnancy and what we went through, pregnancy and what we went through, the pregnancy and what we went through, I thought, to me, thinking it will affect him. So when he, like I said, he's in year 6 now. We went to his parents' interview last month. When we went and we sat down, and the teacher turned to me and said, "You must be so proud of your child." And then I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, he is one of the top 10 students in the class and actually in the school. And sitting there, I was thinking to myself of what we've been through. And for me to hear that from his teacher, it's amazing. And then he said, and the teacher told us, you should be proud of your son. He's one of the top 10 in his class. And we were thinking, because he's moving to intermediate, we were thinking for us to give him scholarship.
Amazing.
I was just looking at the teacher, and I was saying, it must be God. So right now they were looking at some school to give scholarship to my son, but I thank God.
And imagine that's, it's a son that you decide at that time, and now he becomes a blessing
A
to
blessing,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. and I'm just so proud with the fact that you can share those things to our viewers today. And also to be able to be bold with it. And even your child have heard that, because people hide those kind of information. But for you to be open with it, that is amazing. Just amazing. Well, now we will switch to, we will work on our mic. It's not working this morning. We will go straight to Caroline Lolaka, who will be sharing with us this morning.
Bulabinaka.
Yeah.
I was brought up in Nausori.
All right.
When I was young, a teenager from Nausori in Fiji. So I was brought up with 5 siblings. I was the youngest one.
Okay.
And then my dad was working in Nausori. He used to go. He was working in a cooperative ministry, I think, a cooperative store. Yeah. And then he used to travel around Fiji. And then when we in Nausori, we were in Levuka. And then when we came to Nausori, he had left my mom. So he got married again. And then our family was broken then. So my mom left, and then my mom went back to her village in Nakelo. She was a teacher. And he married another lady. She was a teacher as well. So this lady brought us up. And while I was growing up, I didn't want to stay there for long because I was the only one there. And then I looked around, because I was the youngest, all my older siblings, they've gone. Okay. One in boarding school, and then I was the only one waking up in the morning, cooking. And when we were at home, we had from my village, women from my village always come every Friday to come, and then they go and sell in the market. So they always come home. And then our home is full of people. Yeah. So the normal from every weekend. Yeah. So my study was affected, and then I was telling my dad, if you could just put me in a boarding school. So I went to Anditakamba School, and then I went to Nasinu Secondary School. And then from there, I was a bit away from home. Yeah. But then I started but my mom was, I won't say my stepmom, she was my mom as well. Okay. But she brought me up with trying to teach me the discipline life. Yeah. So wake up in the morning, cooking first, do the breakfast first, and then go to school. But that taught me a lot. Yeah. So I think for some of you, maybe you right in a broken home or with a stepmom right now, I believe you will be in the same story as me, growing up.
So it's up to you whether you embrace it or you reject it.
Whether you embrace it or reject it. So I just accepted because I got nowhere else because I was still schooling. Yeah. Either I'm staying at home or I'll go to boarding school. Yeah. But that really taught me a lot to do a lot at home. Yes. And even she used to tell me how to save. She was assistant principal in the school as well, and very educated woman. But my mom, when she left us, she was with my granddad. He was a doctor then. And then she always encouraged me. We always meet secretly in town. So she always tell me, you just stay there. After your school, you'll work. Okay. So I was happy with that. But I was trying to fast forward my life so that I can live at home.
So when did you get married? How old
so
were you?
when I left, I went to work in Nadi, away from Nausori. So I went to work at the region of Fiji. Okay. And then I was there in 1992 to 1995.
Okay, I was there in 1982. Yeah.
And then I worked at the reception desk. And then I worked there, and then I moved to reservation. So when I was working there, my husband was there as well. He was in the kitchen, in the pastry. So
you're getting free
yeah, so the pastries used to come at the front desk in that way. So yes. And then after a while he used to call me, and then he said, okay, can I
Enough
come
pastries.
in? Yes. So,
So how many
so
children
that
do you
started
have?
and then now I've had 4 children and 1 granddaughter. So so in 2006, then I was when I was working at the hotel, then I was offered a scholarship. Then I came to New Zealand in 2006. So that's when I came first with my 3 children.
Okay.
And then my husband came later with my little boy, then 2 years old. Now he's 18.
Oh, you're really blessed. How old are your children?
Now City is 28, and Maria is 26, and Ely is 24, and then Neman is 18.
You don't look like a mother who have 4 adult children. Amazing on how you have, kept yourself and also look after your family till then. But when you moved to New Zealand, what were the issues that you find? Did you blend in well automatically? Or there are some adjustment that you need to make as a family to make it happen?
When we came, the children, they were small then. They didn't feel here. So when they came, they went to primary school, and then they started adjusting themselves from there. And very different.
Yes.
Because when they were brought up in Nandi, they went to airport school. So because their dad was working at the airport then. Yeah. And then when we were in Nandi, they were brought up going to church, and then, Sunday school and all that. But when we came here, we had no really church to go to. So we just stayed at home. And one thing that we found when we here, there was no one to babysit our children. Yeah. Because at home, we had aunties came.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like free babysitting.
Yeah, free babysitting. So when we came here...
it was quite a struggle.
Yeah, so it was quite a
So
struggle.
who looked after your children? You stayed home a bit? Or?
From that time till we came to Taupo, my husband just do night shift all the
Okay.
time. So
All
we
right.
just, and then I go to study, and then I come back, pick up little boy, and then came home. Then
While he goes and work in the
yeah.
evening. Well, I heard you talking about your studies now. I mean, you're talking about the ages of your children, and you are a grandmother. Yes. And you mentioned a bit on the studies that you're doing on the side, something that is totally new. You've never embarked on that. Can you share a little bit just to give insights to other people that may be contemplating but not really, confirming what they want to do? But maybe your story will inspire them to tell them, okay, if she's doing it, I can do it too.
When I came here, I worked at the hotel, and then I worked for about after more than 10 years.
The tourism,
industry. And then when I left, I resigned in 2017. And then I stayed at home. And then I just do little jobs around. I work in a little motel. And then I work in just little jobs. And then I decided, just last 2 years, I decided, okay, I will do an online job. So I started looking around one online job. And then I saw this study online. But I don't want to look at my age. I just want to...
Okay, mind me if I ask. I am 56, turning 57 in May. How old would you be?
I'm 54 this year.
So you're just 3 years away.
Yes.
I'm amazed. Okay, keep on sharing.
And then, so I looked in the online, and then I saw this medical transcriptionist job.
Okay.
And then I started paying for my fees. Then I told my husband, see, I'm going to do this thing.
How long will that take for you to finish it?
So I'm just in the last phase now.
Okay. And how long has that taken you to? It really depends on what you do because it's online.
I can even extend it I only extend if I'm just doing God's work.
Yeah.
But it's good for me because if I'm doing God's work, I will just do things for online. So I keep on extending it. Now, when I go back, then I'll just sit for my last phase for the 2 exams. Yes, and then I'll hook up to one job.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So for me, it's like
A new field
a
altogether.
new field for me altogether.
I mean, from tourism to medical. How did that happen?
And then
Well, I
It's,
heard that one of your daughters is a nurse, is she?
Yes, she is. She's doing a study again now. She worked at the Tauranga Hospital, and then she moved back home because she wanted to study to do her degree. So she said, Mama,
Degree
just
in
come
nursing.
home. In nursing. She already done enrolled nursing. So she said, okay, I'm going to come home and save. Because my two daughters, they left home. They went and stayed, lived in Tauranga.
Okay.
One of them worked in Tauranga. And then the other one decided to come back home to save and study.
Oh,
Yes.
that's very, very good. You know, like to think for them to
Yes.
make their own decision
Yeah.
like that.
So, yeah, she's staying with us just another 2 years and then she'll complete.
Well, just to round up, can you talk to us about your son? Because I see that he's driving a car the last time I came. Can you share with us how old is he? What work was he doing? And how did he buy his car?
My son, the 18-year-old son, he's quite a challenging little boy with us.
Sweet little boy.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he's doing the things that big boys are doing, the men are doing. So, very challenging boy. But he's working with his dad at the moment.
All right.
And then I think just after 2 months he started. The third month he wanted to have a car. So he started to, the money that he's getting, he's saving. And for us, I can see the children when they work and they save. This one, he had just a cruising, because he stayed at home, not paying anything. Now
Yeah.
we started telling him, pay rent.
Yeah.
So
Pay your boarding fees.
Pay your boarding fees. Because every time when they come, even my son, that there's a little girl, they all come and open the pantry all the time. My grandma's pantry. Even a little girl, she started opening the
Yeah,
pantry.
the
So
normal.
for him, I said, okay, this pantry is for you, me, and Dad to buy the things in this pantry. So that was him.
Yeah.
And then imagine like he, to save, fortnight, you get 1,000 something,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of money. So
Yes.
we are always challenging him, even though influence is just there,
Yeah.
overbearing, and sometimes it's very tempting.
Yeah.
So we stopped talking, but we just keep on advising.
I mean, deep down in his heart, he knows the values.
Yeah.
But he's been, like the peer pressure, hanging out with
Yes.
his friends to make the decision. Sometimes he faced the same struggle as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he went to an extent that he was drunk, and then his car was taken away from him.
Okay.
He bought that car, taken away from him, and then now his license. He's got his license, but it's taken away from him again. So if you're listening to me, sometimes our son will be having all those things with you.
Yeah.
Everything is good, but it's only their choice.
Yeah,
their
the choices that they make, yeah.
Yes. But even though he's got his car,
So he saved up for his own car and
For
he
his
bought his
own
car.
car.
Well, that's amazing. It's an achievement. I mean, even though you say it's been revoked, the license
Yeah.
and the car taken away,
Yeah.
but he made something.
He made something.
He achieved
Yeah.
something. He bought his car. Kara, he bought his car.
Yes. And even the 3 other children, they bought their own car
There?
when they worked.
Oh, amazing.
And I must thank my husband, because when they grow up, he just pushed them. Have your license, have your license. But he did that to me. I didn't
Have you got your
listen.
driving license?
I got my driving license now after many years.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're very disobedient. Your children were disobedient
Yes,
to your
and
husband.
then my children were
Yeah.
obedient.
So they got their own cars. That's
Yes.
amazing. Well, that's Caroline Lolaka, all the way from Taupo, and sharing about her children, 4, 2 girls and 2 boys. And they all have their cars, things they can achieve. The exposure, the peer pressure, I believe not only in New Zealand, it happens to all our children all over the world when they leave Fiji, even back in Fiji. They have those peer pressures going at home. But it's a decision that they make. And thank you, Auntie Cara, for sharing your story, because it's very down to earth, very raw, and relatable to all of us that are tuning in this morning. Now we will switch to our combination. We have a great combination here. She speaks the language of Vitongo, and also her dad is an Indo-Fijian. And not only that, she lives in Christchurch. She built a house, bought a land, and also married to a handsome husband. So, Charlene, the table is yours.
Thank you, Auntie Rai. To those of you who are watching online, live on my TV, I forgot to mention earlier my name because I was speaking in 3 different languages and I forgot to mention. So my name is Charlene Divya Kumar. I come from a family background where my mom, she's Fijian. She's from the beautiful island of Yasawa, and she was brought up in the Western, which is Vitongo village. And my dad is an Indian man. At home, I can say it was a multicultural background. At home, like, we speak Hindi to my dad and Fijian to my mom. So sometimes when my dad goes out drinking, because he used to drink a lot, whenever we want to talk about my dad, we switch our language. So we speak in Fijian. And whenever my dad has to say something about my mom, she always goes to the village. And, for us Fijians, whenever we have visitors, there's not only one, there's like 10 cousins. So my dad will speak to us in Hindi, asking us, what are they doing here? Or like, when are they going back? Because it's the Indian mindset.
Yes.
Because in the Indian community, whenever we go visit a house, like, we just stay for a few minutes and then we go. But for Fijians,
they stay for days.
For days.
And they forget to go.
Yes.
It's a good one.
Yeah. But I can say I'm so blessed that my parents were able to teach me how to speak in both languages, because now if someone is talking bad about me, I can know.
Yes.
But I can say that growing up, my mom used to take us to the village. You might be looking at me thinking, she's nicely dressed, she has her hair done. But my mom, she took me to the village to taught us how to do fishing. And when I say fishing, we also used to catch fish with our hands. And to my families in Vitongo, they will know, as a young girl, because back in the days when we go fishing, we go with our friends and our families, and how to catch prawns and crabs and everything. So I've done that, and I know how it is like to live in a village where when you're having tea, when you're sipping tea and you realize there's no sugar, but you just drink tea because when there's everyone around you, it just makes it more comfortable. And also growing up, like, I can say I'm so blessed with my mom. She's a very strong woman of faith. Even though my dad was not really into our church program, but with my mom, she always taught us to believe in God. Every day we'll have our devotion. We'll also sleep when the chickens sleep. We'll only go out when we have any church program or any youth program. But other than that,
stay home.
Just stay at home, do your studies, and And also with growing up, when I moved to New Zealand,
when did you move to New Zealand? What made you move to New Zealand, or how did you move to New Zealand?
So my mom used to work in Denarau back in the days, and one of her boss, she looked at me and she said, she looked at my mom and she said, "You're a very hard-working lady. We want to call your daughter over." So I was sponsored by this couple. Back then, they owned a hotel which is in Mount Cook, which is down in Queenstown. So they told me, for your 21st birthday, we will call you over in New Zealand. So I came here in 2014, but I met my husband in 2012. So I left my husband in Fiji and I moved here, but we didn't come together.
All right.
He was still studying there because his family was here, but he was waiting for his PR then. So I moved here in 2014 and I started to work in a hotel. So my background is hospitality and tourism.
Oh, you have two. Yeah.
Yes. So I worked in that hotel. So growing up, I can say I'm a very quiet person, but once you get to know me, I can open up. I can be very funny at times as well. People used to laugh at me because the way I speak in Fijian, because I can only speak in Vitongo language, because my accent sometimes can be very funny.
Okay.
But I can understand Bawan, but I cannot
Speak it.
Yeah.
So the years that you worked at Mount Cook, how many years did you stay there before you move across to Christchurch? When did you finally move to Christchurch?
So I worked and lived there for 4 years. That hotel is a very isolated hotel.
Yeah.
There's no shopping center. There's no mall. The closest town you can get is like an hour drive. So God put me there for a reason,
Yeah.
because growing up, like, I was very shy. I was always in my room. I have never tasted alcohol. I have never been to any nightclub till today. I don't know what, like, the other worlds are doing at the
Yes,
moment.
yeah.
So growing up, I can say, like, God was always my first priority.
Yeah.
So I moved to Christchurch in 2018, but my husband came in end of 2014. So we got married in 2019, just before COVID.
Okay.
So I thank God, because God had already done His plans for
Yeah.
me and my husband. Yeah.
So how many years are you now in Christchurch?
It's going on to be 9 years.
Okay. Oh, 9 years. Eh?
Yeah.
Can you share a bit with us? Because I heard you have bought a piece of land, which I believe, when people think about it, it's quite difficult to achieve that. But you've shared your story. You've bought a piece of land. You've built your home. Would you be able to share with our viewers on how did you do that?
So I live with my in-laws, and I know some of you are watching and you'll be wondering, oh, she lives with her in-laws, it must be very hard. But no, it's been like, we live with my in-laws, and like my mother-in-law and myself, we are like just
Friends.
mother and daughter and friends. And I'm so blessed, because if you honor your parents, God is going to give you a good mother-in-law, a good
Yeah.
father-in-law. And for that, something growing up, I was always scared to get married to someone, because not only I was scared to get married into a family, but also like the mother-in-law, because we all know mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship can be very hard. But I can say I'm so blessed to have a great mother-in-law and my father-in-law as well, who treat me as one of their own. So we were planning to buy a house. So in 2020, when the COVID started, we started looking for houses, but we weren't sure whether to buy a house that was already built or to buy a piece of land and
build your own house.
and build your own house, so that you can have your own design, like how
Yeah.
you want the kitchen and
Yes.
everything. So we looked at one house, but with the paperwork, God didn't allow that. And then we started to look for this land. We found a piece of land which is closer to the airport. In the process of buying the piece of land, with the ANZ Bank, they weren't approving our loan. And as we all know, buying a piece of land overseas, it's more expensive. So I told my husband, who is also a it's okay, he's a Hindu man.
Yeah.
And he comes from a family background where I'm Christian and he's a Hindu. But God didn't stop that from happening for
Yeah.
like all the blessings that we have received.
Yes.
And then I told my husband, if you want the bank to approve a loan for the house, then you should tithe. And I started talking to him about tithing, because I am someone who loves to give my tithe. So I told him, if you want God to open the doors, you need to give in your tithe. And I know you don't believe in my God, but you will see the blessings that we will receive. So he started to give in his tithe, and I sent
That's
it
amazing.
back to Fiji. So for 1 month, he started to give in his tithe. And then just a few weeks after that, we went back to the bank and they said they have approved the loan. And with that, God has been so amazing, because God doesn't look at the background that you come from.
Yeah.
God looks at the heart of giving.
Yes.
And I'm so blessed to have found someone, because growing up, I was telling God, I need someone who knows you, but more so the heart to be good, to match my heart as
Yeah.
well, because I have a big heart. But God gave me someone non-Christian, but I thank him because of his heart.
Yeah.
So we bought a piece of land with my in-laws, and we moved in just end of 2021. So now it's been over a year. We have a beautiful home with 4-bedroom house, and I think
4 bedrooms. That's huge.
And I thank God for everything that He has done and continue to do in my life and also my family's life.
Well, that's her story. 9 years now in Christchurch, they managed to buy a piece of land and also build a 4-bedroom house. And also she mentioned the fact on the good relationship that she has with her mother-in-law, which I believe for most of us is always a struggle. Depending, we love the sons, but sometimes the son's mother doesn't love us because we come from different backgrounds and how we look at things is quite different. And listening to her, and I like that comparison that you made this morning, Charlene, you say that you always honor your parents, and you believe because you honor your parents, God gave you, it's just like your second parents. When it comes to your in-laws. And I think I believe that. I look after my parents. When I got married, for my mother-in-law, she was more a mom to me than a mother-in-law. I don't call her Nay. And we had a very good relationship. I got married to a family of 12. It's quite a lot of them, with 4 sisters and 8 brothers. But for my mother-in-law, she lives in the village. Whenever she comes over to Vitilevu, she doesn't stay with anybody else but with us. And because I look after her, I see her as just like my mom, and I treat her like a mom. So you may be going through struggles on, the normal mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. I don't think that it should be as such, because if we love their sons, we should be able to embrace their mothers. It's always the mother. They don't say father-in-law. It's always the mother-in-law, because the sons, they are so close to their mothers. And whether we like it or not, and without that mother-in-law, you wouldn't be marrying the son, because of that woman, because of that mother-in-law. That's why you are married to that man. And I believe whatever ideas they have, or the perspective that they have, is quite different from you or from ourselves, or the way that we look at life can be totally different. We must find amend, and we must find space in our hearts to love them. Because at the end of the day, they are your husband's mother. And that is one thing that I've always prayed about. I don't want my husband to have those kind of feeling, of regret, to think, I'm not close to my mother, or I cannot talk to my mother because of my wife. I experienced that because I have, 3 brothers. And I know what's the experience of a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, to the extent that when my mom died, one of my brothers cannot even attend my mom's funeral because of my sister-in-law. And sometimes the differences between us and the mother-in-law, we are holding back our husbands from being themselves to their mom. Yeah, not every mother-in-law are perfect. They are not perfect. And I believe if anybody who needs to give in and make amends, it has to be us. You need to make that first step. When you get married into a family, you don't expect that family just to change for you, or his mother just to change because of you. But try and adjust. Adjustment in accepting the change. And I believe if you really, really love your man, you will love with whatever package that he comes in with. And I'll never forget this, because I come from a very strict upbringing and very nuclear. I don't even know my aunties and my uncles, other than the one that live on the same farm as we do. So when I got married, it was the opposite. I got married to a village. I got married to a tribe. I got married to a lot of Viwekani compared to where I come from. And when I did, the very first time that I walked in, that house was so full. And all I can do is sit beside my husband. And I'll never forget what his grandmother told me. When she came and she spoke, and then she said, because they call me Re, R-E, my name is Racheli. And she turned to me and she said, Re, for people who get married to my family or to our family, now you want Vossa. They call him Vossa because his second name is Vossaiado. Digo, sabawa ti may ve Vossa, iko ng domo ni Vossa, sinyado nga ve Vossa. Iko ng domo ni Vossa, domo na nawe kay Vossa, iko domo na natoa, na pulmakaw, na puaka, na manu kede, na pusi, na koli. And when she said that, I laughed, and then it really dawned on me. Indirectly, she was trying to tell me, this is his life. don't take him away from his life. And if anyone to struggle, it was me. But I didn't. There was never a time that we've ever argued for me to say, oh, I'm not used to this kind of thing. No. There was never a time that I tell him, no, I just don't want anybody else in my house because I grew up not seeing anybody else apart from my own siblings and my parents. But there was never a moment of argument, never a moment of differences, never a moment of fight. We've never had that in the whole years of our marriage, and we've been married for 38 years. I adjust to his lifestyle. The totally different lifestyle that I was brought up in, I adjust to make that happen because I love my husband. If you really, really love your husband, you will make those change. And embrace the lives of your mothers-in-law. Well, I'm a strong advocate when it comes to mothers-in-law. Maybe I'm speaking on the behalf of all the mothers-in-law. And because you'll never know how many years they still have. And indirectly, for me, when I look at my mother-in-law, and I look at my husband, and look at my beautiful children, I'm always reminding myself, why, without this woman, I wouldn't have met this man. And I was really, really blessed with my mother-in-law. She's so, so humble, very humble. And my husband comes from, a family that he's got brothers, they hold position in the government, in the military. And it's a mismatch if you see my mother-in-law sitting there, who comes from the village, who's just smiling. She can only wear flip-flops. She can't wear any other shoe. And every time after work, we'll pick her up, we'll take her to town. And my mother stayed with me too, and she was in a wheelchair because she's diabetic. So it's always an excitement to come back from work, pick the children, pick my mom, and pick my mom-in-law. So we all get in the car. And most of the time, she's the one standing outside, holding onto my hand, and she's telling me, Re, awatawa vale. Kemando lako nga awatawa vale. Sen mai putel lako. So I'll take her. And even to cross the road, she can cross the road on her own. She's scared of the sound of the cars. Yeah. That's my mother-in-law. She's more like a mother to me. And every time we cross, I have to hold her hands. And I remember days of doing that, months, and then she goes back to the village. Whenever she comes back, and if I'm holding her hand and waiting to cross, and she'll look at me, this is in Suva, she'll look at me and she said, you're not ashamed of me. Because she'll have her sulu, her dress, and sometimes she doesn't like to wear flip-flops. And I always make her to wear flip-flops just so we cross the road. So I always look at her and hug her, and I'll tell her, I will never be ashamed of you. Just as I'm not ashamed of my mother, who is in a wheelchair, with an amputated leg, I'm not ashamed of you, my mother-in-law. Ang edo kawe ko ay putel, ke sengo iko, e sengo boasa. Ke sengo boasa, e sengo rosi, sengo fia, e sengo kula. Korto no lubengo sa talita ka ngo batu bale, balata wana lubemo. Au marotaka. Au na senga bando ni mando atikiko. We had a very great relationship. Like what I said, she has 4 daughters. But when she comes to Suva, she'll stay with me. And most of the time, my husband knows, I will be coming to say, Patela, ono kutiko vi, ano kavi ko mo kutiko verto na luve na ngonela. Ono kutiko kya, kavi onge me piktikiko. Say ko le, go for a few days, kito nge piktikiko na weekend. She will always tell me, Sang, autiko nga, kaya bakando lang bitiaw nga vida na yawa, kaya mundo na tumiki au talamay. And, beautiful young girls, as you're so excited meeting that man of your life, please, when you step into his family, try and find a space in your heart to love your mother-in-law. I love my in-laws. I love my sons-in-law. I have 2 sons-in-law. Even for my eldest daughter, her marriage didn't work out. But for being the father of my 3 grandsons, we have a very good relationship. Even though he's moved on with his life, had another woman, and also have another daughter. When we meet, we even have a good relationship with his new wife. My son-in-law, even when their marriage didn't work, he was accessible. He was more like my son than my daughter. He was always home. He'll come home and pick my grandsons. We have that great relationship until today. I love my in-laws. I love my only daughter-in-law, Atsunati, who's married to my only son. And I have this sons-in-law. Even though my first daughter's marriage didn't work out, I still have a very great relationship with him. And not only that, not only with him, but with his mom as well. We meet when it's Joshua's birthday. His grandmother from his dad's side will come, and we'll sit there, talk, like nothing happened. Yeah. I don't know how it's turned out to be the in-laws this morning, but I would like to be that voice to you, young woman or ladies out there. Don't just look for fights or create differences. Don't expect them to change for you. Just embrace them the way they are, and work around it, and love them. Because at the end of the day, your husband still have to honor their parents, and that's his parents. For the blessings to come upon your family, both of you need to honor your parents. And the very woman that you're finding hard to live with happens to be the parent of your husband. So just a word of advice: love them, hug them, and tell them, você teu nei, wala kumai lebona kau dimantaka, você teu sindolomaniko, você teu telang asanong ano desintalite kiko. Tell them, they will understand. And thank you for listening to that portion of the in-laws. Well, now it's around the table. We would like to ask the ladies to share anything that they would like to share or speak directly to you. If anything that they would like to emphasize on this morning. We still have about 20 minutes plus for our session this morning, so feel free to say anything that will benefit our viewers this morning, or even speak in your own dialect. Feel free. This is a family table talk.
Vinaka. Mutumbul vinaka talame kandavu, nitagani au wasi kandavu, nitagani kimuru bula vinaka tiku me indelniavu me solandamu tabu ki kandavu. Salolo mutiyani vinata nakalo. That's where my mom is from, Kandavu, and I have a good relationship with my maternal families, and I just want to say thank you. Nabaliw murundo kawita kinatuna ni tumbula bakawita dini bunga kimi sota murundo vi kawita kitumi o tornangon binakami o babinakta kinike. And also to my mom, if you're watching or you'll watch this later, she lives in Australia. I want to take this time to thank you for bringing me. My dad has passed on. And I believe for all that upbringing that you two brought me up is where I am today, and also in trusting the Lord. And my daughter in Hamilton, I know you're watching this morning, Gloria. I know we miss you, but I believe that our relationship, trusting in God and praying for you, we are far apart, but I want to encourage your mother who is listening in this morning. Maybe your children are far away from you, but to trust in the Lord and continue to pray for them, and trust that God will maneuver your life and your family. And I believe, because what I've witnessed in my small family and my daughters, I continue to trust in the Lord and pray for everything. I had a miracle baby, and now my older daughter has moved on for studies, but it is through God and that relationship, confident that she is there, but trusting God is looking after her, that she's going to be good. As you spoke about the mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, if you'll watch this later, to my sister-in-law Singer, we came, when he came to New Zealand, she looked after my mother-in-law, because my mother-in-law used to stay with me and my husband when we started a family. And as you shared today, I'm just blessed because I believe that's another honoring our parents and our in-laws. She's not well, she's mentally sick, but I believe that love, that connection that I have with her because of the son, wouldn't have my two children. And I'm just grateful and blessed to join into a family that has that, though we were different, the upbringing, but I was so blessed that I learned a lot. And I just want to encourage.
You know, Maggie, when you got married to your husband and you see that closeness that your husband have with his mom, I used to hear him testify. Yeah. And if you look at that picture, sometimes you feel like it's unfair to take them away from that relationship that they have.
Yes, yeah. Because she's mentally sick. And when I got married, I saw that love. And then I didn't want to disturb that love. And she came and stayed with us. And my father-in-law as well. My father-in-law was sickly. I looked after him until he passed on. And then my mother-in-law came in, continued until we left to come to New Zealand. But every time we go to Fiji, I always make it to go and visit her or to go and see her. And even though we're here, I always tell my husband, every time you send some money, to send it to her. And we always video call and she'll be going, Bulavinaka, and I'll be saying, like she, some mistake ko Maggie, ko Bulavinaka Maggie. And it always touched me, very humbling because the way she is. And I'm blessed because I know without her,
you wouldn't have your husband. Yes. Thank you, Maggie, for sharing today. Auntie Cara, would you like to say anything to our viewers this morning?
Well, I just want to encourage anyone listening today. For me, for the mother-in-law, my mother-in-law has passed on.
Okay.
I had a stepmother-in-law as well. So that's how I connected to my husband because we had the same background.
Okay.
So, they all passed on. My mom and dad and everyone had passed on. So, I just want to encourage someone listening in today and to encourage you if you are on, if you are aging, don't stop there. Continue education. Yeah. Nothing can stop us, but just rely on God. I stepped into an unknown onto this study, but I know that nothing is impossible through God. So believing in God, and even though you have children, I have so many. My family is colorful as well. My children have different things that they do in life, but I'm always encouraged by the teaching, by the leaders of the ministry that I am in, that really taught us and moved us on.
Thank you. Well, these are the party shots that we have from the ladies out here on the Family Table Talk. Charlene, say and share anything.
Thank you, Auntie Rai. I also want to take this time to give mention about the mother-in-law. I haven't met my mother-in-law physically. But we always do video calls, talking on the phone. You know the Lawan lady, eh? Yeah. But I thank my husband because he's the youngest of the lot and he's so close to his mom. And I always try my very best not to break that bond, even though they are far apart. Sometimes when he always complain to me, or sometimes he always say, when my mother-in-law always want to call and he always say, "How angin malu?" I said, no. Like, I don't want to break that bond. Yes. And, yes, I want to thank, God for her life. Both of my in-laws have passed on. And also, thank my husband for holding on. During COVID, when my mother-in-law passed on, it wasn't easy for my husband. Because every time he'll say, "Yo, sama tengang na, kesalang na, laku ibiti." But during COVID, it happened. He was broken down.
But he couldn't travel.
Yes, he couldn't travel due to COVID restrictions. And we were waiting also for our visa. So he was broken down, and I was single another mother kawai. and then I was thinking, okay, what shall I do? But being there, I like to encourage him to say it's okay. So I also want to thank my in-laws, my sister-in-law and my brothers, all his siblings are all in Fiji.
Okay.
So I just want to encourage us, Wekirau, Kirosivalu winning on Sarah. We're ngoni rasudike they are more advanced. But we always try to teach them the values and respect. So kirobe encourage ngayani, hold on. Lomana winakana luenda so ngona they speak their mind. But we have to encourage them and also
Adjust to
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Binaka, Charlene, would you like to say anything in whatever language? Will be very, very beneficial.
Thank you, Auntie Rai. I just want to take this time to thank my parents who are watching all the way from Lautoka in Fiji. Thank you to my mom who has made me the person that I am today. All of your teachings and discipline. And look, I've made it to my TV life. With growing up with my mom, she always taught us to always have a good heart. She was the one who told us to sit whenever there is church service or anything, to always sit. No matter if we have tea and cassava or tea and rice, she always made sure that the church people, the servants of God that come into our house, they must be fed. And growing up, she said that one day you're going to grow up and get married. Always have a good heart because you're going to be a daughter-in-law. And now looking back, I can say that God has blessed me because I know, because one day I'm going to be a mother-in-law as well. So it's how you treat your mother-in-law now is going to reflect you in the years to come, because you're going to be in that shoes as well. So like growing up, you have to surround yourself with good vibes, surround yourself with good people, because sometimes when we go to other places, your mother-in-law will be like, oh yeah, my daughter-in-law is like this and that. But it's how you treat them at home. Treat them good so that when they go out, your name will be spoken a lot. And now whenever my husband goes out or my mother-in-law goes out, people always say, how's your daughter-in-law? They ask about me because even though they haven't met me, but they have heard the story of how I treat them. And I believe because of the heart of God that I have, you're going to treat them no matter if they're not Christian, no matter if they are Hindu, because I grew up in a very strong Christian family. And then when I got married to my husband, they were Hindu. It didn't stop me from serving my God. So whenever they have like a puja ceremony, I always sit down, even though like I participate, I always make sure I have a good heart to do whatever they tell me to do. And now when I have my church service, they always show the same respect as I show to their cultural.
I see your husband attending the services, and he comes with you and he joins you. Even to the time when we came to Auckland, he flew across from Christchurch with you.
Yes. Even though like he doesn't believe in the God that I serve, but he sees the God in me. And I pray that one day God is going to change his heart. But just recently, Auntie Rai, because now that we have the church service in the hall for the virtual region, so sometimes he doesn't want me to drive alone because now I'm currently pregnant. So he drops me and then he picks me up. But then this particular Sunday, during the God of our Nation, we were still having the Holy Communion. So he started to stay for the Holy Communion. So he took the Holy Communion and he was standing behind me. And then I looked at him, he was praying as well. And then when we went back home, he said, when I was at the hall, God burdened me like to sit. And even though he didn't have enough money, he seeded the $50 that he had. And then 2 weeks after that, he came back home. He had a big smile on his face. And I said, did you get a pay rise? He said, no, because that's the first thing we always ask. And then he looked at me. He said, do you remember the day when I was convicted to seed to your church? I said, oh, yeah, I remember. He said, well, the boss called me today and we were given a bonus of more than $3,000 plus.
Wow, see that.
And I thank God
Too
because he remembered the seeding. He could have just come and said, oh, I got a bonus
Yes.
of that. But he remembered that seeding that he gave in the church. And now whenever I give in my tithe, when he's burdened, he always tells me I'm also sending through my tithe. And now that we have a baby on the way, it's all because of our list whenever I pray and whenever I have my Holy Communion. So I have my Holy Communion every morning before I go to work. So like 5 days in a week. And now on Sunday, so basically 6 days. So I have my Holy Communion and he's always there. And he makes sure that he's always joining me in prayers. And I always tell you, even though if you don't know how to pray, you can just pray in your own words and I'll just pray in my own. And now looking back for all the things that we have achieved, it's all because of the blessing. It's all because of our good heart and
Yeah.
also that he supports me in my walk with my God.
Amazing. You have an amazing story and you're really, really blessed with your husband and also with your in-laws. That they didn't stop you from serving your God and also the wisdom that God has given you to be able to join in and be part of what they do other than fighting it. So, her story speaks a lot of volume to those of us that are listening in. Sometimes we think that we are the accepted one and we want everything else to change. And this is a very, very good example. Brought up as a staunch Christian, married into a Hindu family, and how they blend and work together. And I would like to thank your family for giving you room and allowing you to continue to serve your God. That is a great blessing. That you never had any moments of regret to think, did I get married to the right person that is stopping me from serving my God? They gave you that freedom. And I believe, to your husband's family, we would like to say thank you for what you do. You may think that it's nothing, but it is a lot and a big testimony to a lot of other families out there. And we've just been blessed having Charlene with us. Like what I said, for Christ Church, this is the first time that we're coming in to have one of our major events here. It's been great. And I don't believe that we could have done that without having believers here or members of New Methodist and having her on board. And not only that, she's just not a normal church member. She is one of the regional coordinators as well on the virtual zone, which means for people that actually meet and help in the administrative running of the ministry. She's one of those as well. So we're really grateful with the stories shared this morning, and it's quite a range. So from family, from growing up in, growing up with your stepmom, some of us with our stepdads. And like what Auntie Cara said, you just need to adjust. And some of the teaching, like she mentioned this morning, giving credit to her stepmom that she learned along the way. And even until today, whatever that she had learned, she's applying it today. And without that exposure, without that learning, without that, new entry into her life through her stepmom that she never planned from the beginning, have given her an added, element, added experience that she can hold on to it and also impart her children with it. So little things that come our way, sometimes we may not agree, sometimes we may hate it, we may not like it, but whatever that happened, which we believe, because we are all believers and we all go to church, and we always believe in this Bible verse in Jeremiah 29:11, that I alone know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and never to harm you, but to bring about the future that you hope for. You may be going through struggles in life. You may be complaining on how you're going to fix it, or it may be too overwhelming that you're feeling so depressed and down and out this morning. Stand up and always remember that we are all created by God, and He intends the best to happen in our life. And all those things that happens in our life along the way, they become experiences. They become a process for you to progress to another level of your life. So thank you for joining us this morning. And I believe we still have 10 minutes of our time. So ladies, anybody would like to share or say anything? Auntie Cara is full of things to share this morning.
Well, I just want to to say today that I'm blessed this week here in Christchurch, especially when our leaders, the leaders of our ministry, are here with us, and they have inspired us a lot. I know that some of you listening here today, you go to other churches and you have different kind of families background, but the only thing that I can say today that I am blessed this week. I'm mostly blessed because I'm, even though I'm at the age of now, but I'm still learning. All of us.
What do you mean at the age of now? You were still young.
Yeah, feel young and feel like, our Randini Gasilevu in our church always say, be bold and beautiful,
Yeah.
We are all beautiful ladies,
Yes.
whoever is listening today.
Yes.
And sometimes we feel sad, our face change. I always change my face at home when something happens. But, even your husband is there, always encourage us. But some, when we are sad, they make us feel more sad. But I know that for all of you listening here today, I just want to encourage you, just feel happy. If anything happens, just feel happy and move
just be
forward.
happy,
And just know that our God is there.
That's a great one. Well, we have our men as our audience today, so we're actually speaking to our husbands. Maggie, say something.
Thank you. I would like to just to encourage, if you're listening in this morning from wherever around the world, we sit here as ladies, and I believe, as my sister here, Kara, has said, she is blessed. And I'm blessed as well this week, flying from Tauranga here to Christchurch and just doing the things of God. I believe I've shared my family, my upbringing, but the change is when I commit my life to the Lord and recommit my life to the Lord. And I knew that He's a God of second chance. And I believe doing the things of God has brought me to where I am today. Upbringing from my parents, and mostly now committing my life and my family to the things of God, doing the things of God, tithing, the commitment, the passion, because that saved my life. That brought miracle into my marriage, into my womb, and that has brought success, prosperity into my family. And I believe, and I thank God, because joining the church in 2008, that was another stepping stone, another switch, another level of prosperity that we receive, we see, we witness miraculous things that God did to my life. Until today, I'm just so grateful and blessed with the leader's life. And I know that you said not to thank you, but I just want to say thank you, because you are my role model. And I thank you because every basic things of living I learned, I took that to heart. And I believe where I am today, I'm just so blessed. I've gone through 1 year of session that's another story,
another testimony.
time. But I believe that took me through because God sustained me in submitting to the things of God and having faith and prayer. So I just want to encourage you ladies that are out there. He's a God of second chance, and He can save your marriage. Continue to trust in Him and believe that He can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. That is so beautiful. Well, ladies, we have time.
Thank you. Today I'm so blessed. I just want to thank my husband. Like Auntie Cara mentioned, sometimes when we are sad, and they make us more sad, or when we are angry, they make us more angry. I believe that because my husband does that sometimes. But this morning I'm blessed. Being here in Christchurch with my husband and with my 2 kids.
Yes.
Now we're enjoying serving the Lord. We are enjoying our time as a family. Because sometimes I always hear, or always see on social media that marriage broken, or man,
passed away,
someone passed away or having an affair. But sometimes I always turn to my husband, I always tell him, you know what, I'm blessed for you just being here. Because sometimes I always get lonely because my parents are back in Fiji. when I always need encouragement or anything, my husband is there. My best friend. So this morning I just also want to thank my husband. I know he's serving there at the back. Thank you, Lepani, for being there, and also
Yeah,
our two kids
you
might
got
be
that.
watching later, Aaron and Hannah. Thank you. Yes,
Well, thank you, talaga si Lepani. You've just made an impact on this rare young, beautiful lady. Well, Charlene,
Thank you, Auntie Rai. Ve mutu na varongo tamai vitongo, ki ingul manangana hoi mangu vavi na manatana mutu dola.
Yeah.
Na vale na visusu, sa ngauna hoi mendu sa alo vata, ngarva vina na halo nange bless tagini ngali
Kandina.
mutu family. Also like to thank my parents. Thank you for everything. And hopefully we can see each other soon. And just to end our program this morning, I would like to encourage someone that's listening in. Maybe you are Hindu, or maybe you are an Itoke that has challenged my testimony. I would just like to ask you to honor your parents, because when you honor your parents, God is going to give you great and mighty things, which is one of them, which is a great mother-in-law. So if you are a young girl, young boy, you are waiting for someone to come into your life and you are praying for it, I ask you that you write down on your list, because writing down your list as well can encourage someone, and God is going to open the doors for you. So with that, I would like to thank the Holy Spirit for allowing me to be here today.
thank you. There you have it. These four beautiful ladies. We have Sherilyn, Charlene, Cara, and Maggie, all the way from New Zealand in Christchurch. And I've really enjoyed it in Christchurch. It's quite a little laid back, and it's nice and quiet. And it's like you're driving around in Fiji. You can easily find your way around. And it's just so beautiful. So even though we're having our conference here, it's a little more like a little vacation that you can have with your family, enjoy it with your family, and have your family time. And in addition, you can still enjoy what is happening around you. So if you happen to be listening to us this morning and you live somewhere closer, or you're in Christchurch, we would like to invite you. If you're willing, join us at the, what do you call this place? Marshall School? Marshland School for our last evening session today, and also we will be ending it with a service tomorrow. So if you don't have any church to go to tomorrow, join us. We'll be having our service here at 8 o'clock New Zealand time, as well on the 10:30. Then we will go on live to the platform for New Methodists all over the world, and we would like to invite you. Join us. It's a good time for fellowship, a good time of encouraging each other. Because as we believe in God, sometimes it's nice just to come and sit together, have a cup of tea, and talk about the goodness of God and what, issues that you face in life that somebody have already survived through. And their story can challenge you to encourage you, also that you can be a survivor with whatever that you're going through. So on that note, we would like to thank you yet once again for being part of the Family Table Talk every Saturday morning. And next week, Saturday, we will be greeting you all the way from Turaki in Suva, Fiji. And we've been all over the place. The other Saturday, we were in Cosford, and then the next Saturday, we were in Stoke-on-Trent. And the third Saturday after that, we were in Turaki, which is last week. And this Saturday, we are welcoming you all the way from Christchurch. Next week, back to Turaki in Viti. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for looking forward to this program, because we've had quite a fair bit of good feedback that a lot of people always tune into this program. Well, I will never, ever end the program without reminders. I would like to remind you. Now it's April. I will need you to relook your book, the book that you have written, your list from the beginning of the year. I will need you to check what you have achieved so far. We are going on to the 4th month of 2023, and you challenge yourself with everything that I've written. What have I done? If you haven't done anything, start now. If you have done something, congratulate yourself. And also, what about your savings? Have you done your savings? If you have not, you need to. And like I always say, write savings as part of your groceries listing, which means it's a must-do at all paydays. Regardless of the amount, it can be $5, it can be $10. The amount is insignificant. It's the commitment and the consistency of doing your saving. So challenge yourself. If you've reached April and you look back that you haven't saved anything, please start today. Never too late to start. And when you do save, forget that you're saving that money. Because if not, whatever expenses come, in front of you, you'll always resort back to your saving. Save and forget. Yeah, it's hard to do that, but train your mind to be able to do that. And I will remind you on your saving. Also on your health. Sometimes we have so much plans in life, we don't include our bodies to be part of it. You can do your plan in 10 years to come, what you're going to achieve, where you're going to go or take your family to, but you don't take note of how you're living your life, whether it's going to be long enough for you to enjoy your plans. Those are the things that I would like to bring to pass and also remind all of us this morning. Check on your life and check on your lifestyle and check on what are you eating, check. Maybe you say, okay, but right now you'll switch it up and say, okay, what is that crazy woman talking about? I just want to be that voice that's going to be irritating to you every Saturday to remind you. Because most times, as you see now, like even in Fiji, you see a lot of young people dying. Unplanned, still young, and still have a lot in life. And if you look at the person, very healthy. How did that happen? Well, it happened. Which is why I would like to remind you, go to any hospital, you can do your medical check. If you have a private doctor or family doctor, go. If you have insurance that is paid by the company that you work with, go and ask whether that can also include your medical check. Medical check is very important because when you know your ailments, you will be able to do something about it now. If you don't know, then it builds up and sometimes it can be too late. For you to do anything about it. So, like what I said, people don't want to hear about it. And also you don't like going to see the doctor when you're all good, all well. We run to the doctor when you're sick, but when we are good, it's like, okay, that's crazy. Why should I go to the doctor when I'm not sick? I believe, and I would like to recommend, please see the doctor, get your medical report, and work towards it. Because whatever that you're planning in life, always look at your children, look at your spouse, and say to yourself, I want to enjoy many years with my family. And to enjoy that, you need to know your body, you need to know your life. You need to be careful with the things that you eat, and also whatever lifestyle that you live. Because those are all contributing factors to long life. We can all pray for long life if you're a Christian like us, but God doesn't help those who do not help themselves. And we need to do things in our life to change, make amends. And sometimes you struggle by making those changes, but I can tell you it's worth the try because you love your family so much and you want to spend your many years with them. Like what I said earlier, I'm 56, turning 57 this year. I look at my grandchildren and I continue to tell myself, I need to stay alive until I'm 80. I'm pushing myself. Only God knows the year that is going to take me. But I desire to reach that age so I can see my grandchildren move on with their lives and they are all good. I want to see that. That's a stage of my grandchildren's life that I want to be part of. Because of that, then I work backwards. I look at my health. I look at my body. I check the food that I eat. I try and help my life and my body physically and prayerfully in the spiritual element to help me achieve what I desire. So don't just blindly plan things for your family, for their future and years to come, and you forget about yourself. I just want to be the little pinch on the side to remind you that life is worth living if you do something about it today. Well, on that note, thank you once again, and we'll see you next Saturday at 7:30 a.m.
A family is an epitome of God's love towards mankind. God designed us to live in families, and the Bible reveals that family relationships are important to Him.
But as a believer, do you feel that you are still struggling?
Maybe you're still struggling with your relationship,
Struggling with your finances?
struggling at work,
With your social life?
or with your spiritual life.
We invite you to join us
On our Family Table Talk every Saturday,
at 7:30 a.m. on my TV.
or catch us on our Facebook page.
Bula, I'm Rosinto Viverata from Women in Media Fiji. We've just launched our first mentoring program for women journalists.